Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, this is Inorganic Material Chemistry, Chem 3115, and this is 30th lecture of this course. And the topic which we are going to discuss is Sol Gel Synthesis, second part. The key concepts of this lecture includes we will discuss how a sol is stabilized. Next is the point of zero charge, double layer, coagulation, flocculation. We will also discuss silica gel through sol gel processing, hydrolysis and condensation, which are main steps of sol gel synthesis. And then we will discuss about silica gel formation. So starting from how is a sol stabilized? A sol consists of a liquid with colloidal particles which are not dissolved but do not agglomerate or sediment. Small particles tend naturally to agglomerate due to van der Waals forces and a tendency to decrease the total surface energy. In order to counteract the van der Waals interactions, repulsive forces must be established. So these are the particles and this is the organic layer around the particles. The particles are attracted through van der Waals interactions. There are also some repulsive forces which repel these particles from each other. So steric hindrance, we use a surfactant during the synthesis through sol gel process. Adsorption of a layer of organic molecules. Particles are prevented from approaching each other, reducing the role of van der Waals forces. It works best in concentrated dispersions and organic media. The second one is the electrostatic repulsion. Adsorption of charged species onto the surface of the particles. Repulsion between a particle and agglomeration will be prevented by using aqua solutions. So in sol gel process, when we are making sol, as we have already mentioned, the sol is a colloidal solution. And what is colloidal solution? The particles are present inside the solution and they should be equally distant. They should not settle down at the bottom. So this is why we need to stabilize the sol. And the sol is stabilized by attractive and repulsive forces. The attractive forces bring the particles together and repulsive forces make them at a certain distance from each other. So this is the way how sol can be stabilized. Point to zero charge. All particles have ionic groups that control the surface potential. Counter ions in the solution will cover this layer, shielding the rest of solution from the surface charges. For hydrous oxides, the surface potential will be determined by reactions with the ions like hydrogen ions, hydroxyl ions, and the surface potential is pH dependent. So for example, we have metal hydroxide, it will react with hydrogen ions and it will produce metal OH2 plus, and if we react metal hydroxide with hydroxyl ion, it will produce metal oxide ion and water will be produced. At the pH, the particle become charged neutral is referred to as point of zero charge. For pH greater than point of zero charge, the surface is negatively charged For pH less than point of zero charge, the surface is positively charged. So you can see from here, if the pH is less than point of zero charge, then there will be more hydrogen ions and we will get the surface is positively charged by this cation. And if pH is greater than point of zero charge, it means there are more hydroxyl ions and we will get negatively charged surface. So the typical values of pH for different oxides are: for magnesium oxide it is 12, aluminium oxide 9, titanium oxide 6, stainless oxide 4.5 and silicon oxide 2.5. So point of zero charge depends somewhat on the size of the particles and the degree of the. Next is the silica gel formation through sol gel process. As we have already discussed, a sol gel process occur in several steps. The first one can be hydrolysis and condensation of molecules, then the formation of a sol, then gelation. It means the transformation of sol into gel, after that aging and drying. So by using these different steps we can synthesize silica, and you can see in the diagram here the blue colored material, it is a kind of silica, and this silica is often used as water absorbent in different medicines, in different electronic appliances. You can find a small packet of silica. What is hydrolysis and condensation? The starting point for formation of a silica gel may be alk oxides or silanols. We will discuss about alk oxides and silanols in detail later in other lecture. So these are reacted to give siloxane groups. For example, here we have an alk oxide and here we have a silanol, and when they are reacted with each other, they produce siloxanes. Starting from an alk oxide, we react alk oxide with water. It is converted into a silanol. So we can convert alk oxide into a silanol, or we can directly start from a silanol. This process is called hydrolysis, where we treat an alk oxide with water and we get a silanol. After that we can treat silanol with alk oxide, or we can treat silanol with an other silanol, and the condensation process will take place. Here for example, if we use this one, ROH will be removed. If we use this one, then OH from one group and hydrogen from other group, they will be removed in the form of water and we will get silicon oxygen silicon bond, silicon oxygen silicon bond, and these are siloxanes. These are two processes of hydrolysis and condensation. In hydrolysis, we simply treat our alk oxide with water and it is converted to silanol, and after that we treat silanol with alk oxide or silanol with another silanol to do the condensation process, and we get silicon oxide silicon bond formation. These condensations can be of two types: acid catalyzed condensations or base catalyzed condensations. So these are two methods of acid catalyzed condensations and base catalyzed condensations. In acid catalyzed condensation, we get polymeric gel. In base catalyzed condensation, we get particulate gel. So we have sol far from gel point. In acid catalyzed condensation, it is condensation occurs and we get sol which is near to the gel point. Hydrolysis reaction is speeded up more efficiently than the condensation reaction. Polymer chains are weakly cross-linked and the structure can be highly compact compacted before gelation, and after that we get gel point where the gel is formed. In base catalyzed condensation where particulate gel is formed, first of all we have branched clusters. They are far from the gel point, it is actually sol, and after that growth and additional branching occurs. We go near to the gel point and finally the linked clusters are formed at the gel point. So residual spaces in between the clusters, they are present at gel point. These are two types of catalyzed condensations: acid catalyzed condensation and base catalyzed condensation. Next is the silica gel formation. The starting materials for the formation of silica gel are usually sodium silicate, which is also called water glass, or silicon alkoxide. So there are some differences if we use these two starting materials. One is the water based system and the other one is water free system where we use alkoxides. So we do alk oxides. In water based system, sodium silicate is dissolved in water. The reactive groups in water glass are silanol. Gelation therefore starts with the change in pH. Morphology can be controlled via pH, presence of salts, and concentration of reactants. On the other hand, in water-free system, we have alkoxide which is dissolved in an organic solvent, usually an alcohol. Hydrolysis reaction occur converting silicon alkoxide to silanol. Sol gel therefore starts by adding water plus catalyst. The alkoxide systems are complex with many parameters. They allow control of the reactions. There are two reaction paths. We can use acidic environment where the condensation will be acid catalyzed condensation, or we can use basic environment where the condensation will be base catalyzed condensation. So alk oxide reaction in acidic environment where the system is water free system, the oxygen atom in silanol or alkoxide is protonated and HOH or HOR are good leaving groups. The electron density are shifted from silicon atom, making it more accessible for reaction with water. It means hydrolysis, or silanol, it means condensation. So in hydrolysis step, in the presence of an acid, the water is reacted with alkoxide to produce silanol, and in condensation step, in the presence of an acid, hydrogen ions The silanol reacts with an alkoxide, or silanol reacts with an other silanol to produce silicon oxygen silicon bonds, silicon oxygen silicon bonds, plus leaving the ROH group or water molecule. Here is the mechanism of the reaction. It is rapid protonation. The protonation occurs. X can be H or an R group, alkyl group. So for example, silicon OX, it reacts with hydrogen ions and it gets protonated. And after that, when we treat this protonated silicon alkoxide with some other solvent, we get metal oxygen metal bond, and plus HOX is removed during this step. Alkoxide reactions can also be carried out in basic environment. They are also water-free systems. The in basic environment, if we use a base, for example, hydroxyline, it acts as a nucleophilic attacking group. So a nucleophilic attacking group attacks by hydroxyline or silicon oxide ion on the central silicon atom. These species are formed by dissociation of water or silicon hydroxide. The reactions are of SN2 type. The students, if you have already learned about SN2 substitution nucleophilic second type of reaction where OH replaces OR, hydrolysis occurs, or silanolate replaces hydroxyl or OR and condensation takes place. This is the reaction mechanism. We have a nucleophile, it attacks at the silicon, and in second step the XO group leaves and we get nucleophile oxygen and silicon bond. So for hydrolysis reaction, the X can be R, Y can be H, and at condensation step X can be R, H, and Y. X can be R or H and Y can be silicon. This is a simple reaction when using silicon alkoxide. Acid or base must be used to catalyze the reactions. So this is a simple reaction showing condensation and hydrolysis. There are different parameters that control condensation. Condensation 1, condensation 2 and condensation 3. The condensation process is dynamic and may be steered in the desired direction by adjusting parameters. The parameters are type of precursor and electron density on precursor, the ratio between alkoxide and water, type of catalyst used, either it can be acid or base, pH competition between hydrolysis and condensation, type of solvent which induces polarity, protonic condition stabilizes various species, temperature is also another factor, relative and absolute concentration of reactants. The stability and reactivity of the silicon alkoxides are influenced by a steric factor. Bulky ligands show down the hydrolysis. So here is a reactivity order of different alkoxides. You can see the reactivity is more for less bulky groups and reactivity is less for more bulky groups. So Me is for methoxy, Et is for ethoxy, and PR is for propoxy group. Second one is the parameters that control condensation 2. The electron density on the silicon will influence the reaction rate. For example, if there is simple R group, then the reaction will be more. If OR, then the reaction will be less. If OH, then more less. Acid catalyzed reaction demands high electron density and base catalyzed electrons demands low electron density because base acts as a nucleophile and it reacts with low electron density positive charge. This results in acid catalyzed more state chains and in base catalyzed more branch network. Another factor is the water ratio, RW OR over water. The reaction states that a water ratio of RW is equal to 2OR over H2O is needed to convert everything to silicon oxide. A water ratio of 1 leads to complete hydrolysis but no condensation. Increasing the water content, it means lowering the water ratio, will reduce condensation. Reducing the water content will increase the condensation reaction. Next is the parameters that control condensation 3. pH, reaction rate is pH dependent. A minimum of for hydrolysis is observed at pH 7 and for condensation at pH 4.5. Second one is the solvent, the polarity, dipole moment, viscosity, protolytic, non-protolytic properties are important for the reactions taking place. Polar solvents stabilize polar gels by hydrogen bondings and non-polar solvents they are better for systems which are not completely hydrolyzed. So these are different parameters that control the condensation process. If we do not consider these parameters, then hydrolysis may occur but the condensation will not occur. Next one is the network formation. As we have already mentioned in the definition of the Sol-Gel process, that it is a method in which a network is formed by the condensation. So during the reaction, objects will grow, however, a gel may not form. As the sol aggregates, the viscosity will increase until a gel is formed. The sol-gel transition, which is also called gel point, is reached when a continuous network is formed. The gel time is determined as the time when it is possible to turn the container upside down. It means that if we have container and we change its side, the fluid will not fall down from the container. It means all fluid is kept in the form of gel and the volume is maintained. So here we have monomer, it is converted to dimer, then cyclic and particle. These are different sizes, 1 nanometer, 5 nanometer, 10 nanometer. So these are acidic conditions and these are basic conditions. We have sols and these sols they are converted into three-dimensional gel networks. These are three-dimensional gel networks of different sizes. So we have large spherical silicon oxide particles. If we have high pH, low RW, high temperature, then we will get small particles and we will get network formation by using sols through condensation process. This is SEM image, TEM image of nickel silicon oxide, nickel particles are embedded into silicon oxide. So these are of about 50 nanometer in size. So this is all about this lecture. Thank you very much.